I would like to thank the sponsor of this video, AudiobooksNow, for sponsoring this video. Click the link in the description box below to enjoy the discounts. I'm sorry, I was distracted. And about I believe it's 10 or 15% of the proceeds go to Operation Underground Railroad to help in their efforts to stop human trafficking. So let's get into this video. Hey you guys, welcome back to the Sweet Pea Diaries. It's your girl Sweet Pea, and I am back with another video. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome back to my channel. And if you are a new subscriber, welcome to the Sweet Pea Diaries. Be sure to like this video, share the video, but most importantly, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Now we are doing another true crime video. This is live true crime content. And tonight we are going to be discussing the case of Shana and Dominique Decree, the mother and daughter duo that actually murdered 5 of their family members. Hey, Woo Child. Hey, Maya. I know it's pretty late, you guys, and I've been trying to do this video, honey. I've been trying. But I finally was able to get to it. So you guys sit back and enjoy the show. Let's just get right into it.
Held without bail, the mother and her 19-year-old daughter, accused of murdering their family members, are staying behind bars today. They've allegedly confessed to their crime, saying everyone, even the 3 children, wanted to die.
No doubt about it, Shari and Brian. Authorities say it'll be weeks before they can determine exactly how the victims were killed in this case. Investigators say it seems at least 2 of them were strangled, but at this point they simply don't know. But what they do know at this point, at least what they say they think they know, is who did it. Authorities say 45-year-old Shana Decree and her 19-year-old daughter Dominique have confessed to the horrific murders of 5 members of their own family. Morrisville Police Chief George McClay says these are the kinds of cases that haunt police officers.
It's a sad day for us. As much as I've seen over my career, this is the saddest case I've ever had.
It was yesterday afternoon when police got the call from a social worker who went to the Decree family apartment on West Bridge Street to see how they were doing. The caseworker reported that the suspects seemed disoriented. Investigators quickly arrived to find the remains of the 5 dead victims in another room. The youngest were 13 years old and 9-year-old twins. Bucks County DA Matt Weintraub says he has a pretty good idea how this crime unfolded. The question that lingers is, what could have possibly been the motive?
As confusing as it was last night, we are no closer to understanding that in the harsh light of day. We will continue to pursue every lead and to work this case to its just conclusion.
During questioning, not only did the suspects reportedly say they wanted to be dead, they also said the victims wanted to die as well. So we asked Chief McClay if he thinks this is some kind of twisted murder-suicide case. He says that's doubtful.
2 9-year-olds can't make that decision, and a 13-year-old. So I think that's, is that something in the adults' minds? I don't know, but it's surely not in 9-year-old minds.
Okay, give me 1 second. Okay. So on February 26, 2019, 45-year-old Shana Decree and 19-year-old Dominique Decree killed 5 of their relatives, 3 of the victims being children, an event which has become known as the Morrisville killings, the crime having taken place in Morrisville, Pennsylvania. Now, this is horrific. It's just absolutely terrible. So I want to issue a trigger warning now. This crime is going to be discussing the killing of children and, religion. So if that is something that would bother you or trigger you, I would suggest that you, remove yourself from this video. Now, according to the women in the family, This had been a suicide pact amongst all of the family members, including the children, because recently they had all been talking about suicide. Now, before dying at the hands of her niece, Dominique Decree, Jamila Campbell, who was 42 years old, assisted in choking the children. Now, Dominique then choked Jamila to death after that. It appeared that they attempted to choke Dominique to death because when she arrived at the police station, she had choke wounds or, some type of wounds around her neck. So they were not successful in choking her, and she was taken into custody with her mother with visible injuries to her neck. So, her mother and her assisted with the oldest of the victims, Jamila, who was 42. Jamila was actually Shana's sister, and Shana is the mother. She's the one, you can obviously tell in this picture here that she is actually the mother depending on which side you're on. I'm on the left side. It's probably your right side, but I don't know. It's probably, it's still on the left side looking at the camera. Yep. So on the left side, that's Shana, and as you can tell, on the right side, that is Dominique. Shana's 45. Dominique was 19 years old. So Shana is the matriarch of the family. She is the mother of Dominique, as well as Natiri. I forget how to pronounce her name, Nairia or something. I'll see it when it comes to it. But she's actually her mother as well. And Jamila is her sister. And Jamila is also a victim. But they say that Jamila assisted in helping them asphyxiate, choke out the other family members. So this is just horrible. Let's see. Get this other slide here. Now, all in all, Shana and Dominique, they were charged with the murders of Shana Decree's children, who were Nairia Smith, who's age 25, Damon Decree Jr., who was age 13, and then Shana Decree's sister Jamila Campbell, who was age 42, and Jamila's 9-year-old twin daughters, Imani and Erica Allen. These were all of the victims of this tragic event. I mean, just sad. 2 twins, Imani and Erica, they were 9, and they were taken out by this duo. Now, Shana and Dominique gave different answers about who killed whom. However, they both said that Jamila Campbell participated in the killings before Dominique actually strangled her. Now, all 5 bodies were found in one bedroom, all face up on or near the foot of the bed. Now, Shana Decree was the matriarch of the family. She was the mother to Dominique, Nairia, and Damon. Damon was 13 years old and was the only male inside of the home at the time, and was the only male that was a victim. There was another male that was a teenager as well, and that was Jamila's son. But thank God he was not in the home when this incident occurred. He was later found at another residence unharmed. Now, Nairia had just recently moved to the apartment about a month earlier, and she was actually engaged to be married. Jamila Campbell, who was Shana's sister, also lived in the apartment with her twin 9-year-olds, Imani and Erica. So that means there was a total of 8 people living in this 1-bedroom apartment. Shana Decree was described before this event as a good-hearted woman by those that knew her. Shana and her children living in the Morrisville apartment were always able to be reached by phone. You know, their friends and families, they were able to reach them before this event. So it became alarming when her sister, Walida Campbell, was not able to get in contact with Shana. Now, Walida said that 2 weeks prior to the tragedy, she was actually living in Georgia at the time, but 2 weeks prior to the tragedy, she tried contacting her sisters, Shana and Jamila, but could not get a hold of them. She said it became alarming that all 8 of them had actually started living in the apartment anyway. She was, friends and family were wondering why all of a sudden all 8 of them suddenly started living together, because Jamila and Nairia had places of their own. Nairia had her own apartment, and Jamila did as well. She was actually living in Trenton with her son and twin daughters. Now, Jamila's girls, they were even registered at an elementary school in Trenton, so people did not understand how did they get in this apartment and why were they there when they had their own place. The only contact that Walida had with the family in the last month came through an aunt who had been in touch with them. The aunt told Walida that the group was afraid to leave the apartment because of the demons that they saw all around them. So it appears that when Jamila and Nairia arrived to visit Shana in this last month, they ended up staying out of fear, because whatever they were exposed to, it severely started affecting them and their ability to think clear. And they started thinking that they were surrounded by demons. They thought that the world was coming to an end. There were demons in them, around them. And so they started being secluded and not leaving the apartment. Now, this was not normal behavior for any of them, because those that knew them said that this family, they were very sweet people. They were intelligent people. And their family seems to think that it was something that got into them, completely taking over their mind, their bodies, and their souls.
I just feel like there needs to be some facts released, and there needs to be some understanding as to what is happening. I'm Toya M. Nelson with your Finesse Tip Fridays, and since I'm supposed to do a Finesse Tip Friday every Friday, but we got some crazy stuff going on, I'm going to go ahead and drop this Finesse Tip right now, because it needs to be said right now. Be aware of what you allow into your spirit, because what happened to my little cousins, Dominique and Damon and Nayara, and what happened to Shana and what happened to Jamila and her twins, what happened was a spirit entered their home, entered their body, entered their spirits, and took over and created this, just, I guess they were like in a cult. They were studying, what they were studying was, they had a lot of similarities to what Hebrew Israelites study. They were calling God Yah. They were saying that you had demons and devils in you if you weren't studying Yah and if you weren't following Yah. They were saying that they needed to be cooped up in the house and away from everybody, and that the world was ending. They were like giving people spiritual baths and speaking in tongues. It wasn't even tongues. It was like some other kind of blibber jabber kind of tone. They were cutting everybody off and didn't want to have anything to do with their family. So 3 weeks ago, we found out all of this was happening. And a lot of us called CPS, Child Protective Services in Buck County, and reported what was happening and told them so that they needed to go do wellness checks. This was 3 weeks ago. They just did a wellness check yesterday. They just returned my phone call yesterday, and I called them 3 weeks ago. February 3rd, I believe it was, is when I called Bucks County and told them that those children were hibernating in a house with their parents, and that Shana was keeping them hibernated in a house. And Nene was hibernating in the house, and Dominique was hibernating in the house, and they're adults as well. So like, it had to be some type of spiritual, demonic entity that took over their minds and just kind of led them into this, because these were sweet people. Dominique is a sweet girl. She was, while this was happening, this was kind of like something that took, it was almost like an overnight thing. But at first they have been studying this and they have been learning different languages. And at first you like, oh, okay, they just learning a different language. But then when they start to hide in the house and hibernate and just try to just cut off contact with everybody else, then you like, hold on, wait, something ain't right. So then you call in the police and you get the police to come over there. The police go over there and do a wellness check. When the police walked in there, they came out and said, oh, they just eating cereal. And he says nothing he could do about anything because he can't remove Nene, he can't remove Dominique, and because they are adults. And we said, well, what about the children? He's like, well, they seem to be okay. Everybody seems to be okay. I'm just confused as to, this was the first time that they were called. The police was called over there. I called Bucks County after that. Bucks County Child Protective Services. I called them after that and told them the police went over there and did a wellness check, but I just still feel like something not right. Can you go back over there? Can you just remove the kids? Because they still haven't been, this like maybe a week later after Bucks County police showed up. So this is the first week they showed up. Then the next week I call CPS and I'm like, please, you know, send somebody over there. Like, I don't think DJ has been to school in a week. I called them, so that was, okay, so that was 2 weeks ago then. February 3rd. So we found about this the weekend before February 3rd, because that's when the police showed up that week. And then the next week is when I called Child Protective Services. And then they just now getting back to me 3 weeks later. So yeah, this has been happening for a month. It took a month for this kind of religion to just jump off the deep end. Like whatever this was something that they allowed into their spirit from watching YouTube videos. They were seen watching YouTube videos and praying and speaking in different types of languages that wasn't considered to be, it was considered gibberish. It wasn't any kind of specific language, but it was gibberish. They were learning another language. They were saying that people around them were demons and devils if you weren't a part of what they believed in, which was Yah. They were saying that they were just saying all types of wild stuff and just kind of cutting us off. And we would ask DJ, we DM'd EJ like, DJ, are you okay? And he said yes. And I'm just like, if you're not okay, why didn't you tell us that you wasn't okay? Why didn't you tell us? Like, I don't know. Like, everybody kind of sharing guilt. We all feel like we should have done more. And I know Bucks County really feeling like they could have did more. But at the end of the day, spirits and that's nothing you can play with. It's nothing you can play with. Like, spirits is nothing you can play with. I wish I would have took my sage over there and saged down the door myself and took a plane up there. And I don't know. I feel like I wish I would have did more. And I just can't believe that this is reality. Like, don't put nothing into that GoFundMe. That is a false account. It's just wild. Finesse tip is be aware of what you allow into your spirit. When you get warning signs from God, act on them immediately, because we knew stuff was going on, but we didn't know it was this weird. Like, we just never suspected this from them. I need to talk to Dominique. I'm trying to get in touch with the jails. I'm trying to figure out how I can go see her, because I need to talk to her. I need to lay eyes on her. I need to know that she is okay. Like, she would never do this to her siblings. She loves her mom. This had to be, like, I know her mom has been through a lot and they protect their mom a lot, but if you want to contact the family or help the family anyway, reach out to Damon Decree or Shakira Decree. Like, don't, that group me that is actually on the news, GoFundMe is actually on the news, and it's false. It's fake. Finesse tip, Lady T, the finesse queen, Toya Nelson, and I'm here to just tell you that be aware of what you allow in your spirit. That's when it comes to music. That's when it comes, when these rappers talking about dancing with the devil and playing, oh, I'm racing a car, devil. Like, nah, none of that. And when you watching certain things on YouTube, be conscious of what your family, your friends watching on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I mean, they was adults, but like, even kids, like, I seen an article the other day that said, like, halfway through a video it show you how to turn on the oven while your parents are asleep. Like, it's just all types of crazy stuff on YouTube these days. You just got to be conscious of what you allow into your spirit. I'ma just end it with that. Peace.
Ooh, she said a lot there, honey. Now, prior to the actual tragedy, prior to the tragedy, police in Morrisville, they did have contact with this family. Now, there were a few minor calls for disturbances to the apartment, but it was nothing that would lead police to think that anything like this was going to occur. Now, however, the family, they did attract the attention of children and family services in the area because Shana's son Damon began to be absent from school, and school officials began to become concerned because he had missed a total of 10 days from school prior to this. Now, at first, the school's calls in an attempt to contact Shana about his absences went unanswered, but eventually Shana answered the phone, telling the school that she wanted to withdraw Damon from school to start homeschooling him. So the district began making arrangements for her to do so, and they were preparing the paperwork. Now, Damon was known as a really sweet kid. He came to school every day with a smile on his face, and he made sure to keep pushing through whatever was going on in his life. And people kind of felt like they knew that it was something going on at the home. It was something going on with them, but Damon just made it appear on the outside like things were normal. And people felt like maybe he was suffering on the inside, but he kept up appearances, and, he just went to school, and then eventually he stopped going, and people got worried, and they were calling Shana. She didn't answer, and then finally she answered and said, "Listen, I'm going to homeschool my child," just like out of nowhere. So Shana's father, James Campbell, he started also getting worried about the family and their living condition. He had recently stopped by to pay them a visit, and he couldn't even get in the apartment. They would not answer the door, okay? And he just wondered, why all of a sudden did 8 people start living together when the 2 other adult women, Jamila and Nairia, they had their own place. So why did they start living at Shana's, a cramped up 1-bedroom? People could not understand that. They were like, what is going on? But they knew it was weird because when they would go over there, they could not get in. They would call, they would not answer, and then they started talking about these demons. Now, Nairia Smith had been living at that apartment for just 1 month, and she actually was engaged to be married. But when her father, Ronald Smith, tried visiting her at the apartment, she would only speak with him through the door. She wouldn't even open it all the way. She just cracked it and peeked out through the door, and spoke to him that way. Then after he left, he started getting text messages from Nairia saying that she would soon pass through the pearly gates and that she would have to start making herself right before passing through the gates. She had went from a vibrant young lady to one that was actually withdrawn, meek, tired, and scared for no reason. So quite naturally, Ronald, the father, was alarmed because he said that his daughter was a very good person and he did not know how she fell into what was happening at that apartment. She had even stopped communicating with her fiance, only sending a few vague text messages here and there. So people were really worried about this family. They were reaching out to, law enforcement. They were reaching out trying to get welfare checks done. And they would go over there, and, the one time they went over there and law enforcement said, yeah, they went inside. Looked like the kids were fine. They can't remove anyone just because it looks like, they're withdrawn or whatever. It didn't look like any abuse was occurring. There was food in the house, so they could not just remove them. There were adults there that were there at their own will. They weren't being held captive. And the kids that were there were actually, the mother was there as well. So they couldn't just remove them, which is just sad. I mean, this family was crying out for help. They knew that something was going to happen, and they didn't get any resources. Now, family members became even more concerned when they could not reach Shana or any of the other adult women in the home. So that's when they called authorities, who sent a social worker out to the apartment to do a welfare check. And then this is when all hell broke loose, okay? When they went and did this final welfare check, this is when shit hit the fan. When no one answered the door, the social worker had a maintenance worker unlock the apartment. And that's when they found Shana in the bed with Dominique. 5 dead bodies were nearby. One person was face up on the bed, another was on the bed, one was propped up sitting against the bed, and one of the kids was on the floor. The 5th body was under another body. When authorities arrived at the gruesome scene, Shana and Dominique were disoriented. It seemed like they had taken something or they were out of it. Police also found that the apartment was in disarray. It was broken glass everywhere. Furniture was turned over. And so Shana and Dominique were rushed to a local hospital because it was apparent that they just were not in their right frame of minds. Now, when questioned at the hospital, Shana and Dominique at first, they denied knowing what had happened. Dominique claimed that an unknown black male had caused injuries to her neck, and she repeatedly advised that she wanted to die. Shana then told investigators that Jamila's boyfriend and 2 unknown males came into the apartment and killed everyone. Now, after the investigators told Dominique that her mother had identified who did it, Dominique also said that 3 men carried out the killings. But later, the 2 women confessed that it was them, along with Jamila, that carried out the murders. Because like I told you earlier, Jamila is the 42-year-old. She's the, the other adult. She was Shana's sister, and she actually helped strangle the other members of the house. And then Dominique strangled her, and then Shana actually tried to strangle her, but I guess it didn't work. And so those 2 were the only ones that remained. But later, once they confessed to the killings, they wouldn't tell really how it all played out. Who killed who did what. Now, Shana's estranged husband and Dominique and Damon's father, his name is Damon Decree Sr., and he told local media that he believed that Shana and Dominique were in some kind of cult. He said, "I don't know what kind of cult, but they were talking about demons being all around them." And he also felt that Shana and Dominique both deserved to be jailed for the rest of their lives. When talking to reporters, he said, "I don't want them in no insane asylum. I want to see them in jail for the rest of their lives." And said he was surprised that his wife and daughter killed their family, but he knew that something odd was going on in the apartment. He said, "This has been going on for the past month. I mean, we've been calling children's services and calling the police." And another person named Destiny Harris, who is reportedly the half-sister of the murdered 9-year-old twins, told a television station that the 2 women were mixed up in a religious cult of some sort and had been making comments about demons being all around. They were also going through something religiously, and they decided to drag the kids into it, she said. Now, Jamila Campbell actually had another son that was living there at the time, like I told you, but thankfully, he was not there when this happened. He actually was found alive at another location. So thank God he was not there and did not suffer the same fate as the rest of the family. Now, more than 18 months after they were found lying in a cramped apartment with bodies all around them, their own relatives, Shana and Dominique pleaded guilty, but mentally ill, to first-degree murder in a deal that gave them life in prison without parole instead of the death penalty. They each received 5 consecutive terms of life in prison. And during the sentencing, the judge said, "This is horrible and tragic because I do believe the 2 of you have expressed remorse. Unfortunately, that doesn't bring them back. You can't say sorry and expect people to move on with their lives." Addressing both the judge and their relatives in the courtroom, both women offered tearful apologies. Shana said, "The hardest thing for me to do is decide what to say. I'm sorry is the first thing I can say." She says, "To my family, I'm sorry for taking away these beautiful souls in such a horrible manner. And then Dominique, she was really crying and she was sobbing heavily. She was overcome with grief. And she said that her actions will haunt her for the rest of her life. She said, "I'm so sorry for everything that happened, and I truly don't understand why it happened." Autopsies conducted on the victims revealed that all but Jamila Campbell had been asphyxiated. I can never say that. Asphyxiated. The eldest victim, Jamila, had died from strangulation, according to the coroner. Now, it was also uncovered that the killings took place over a course of 3 days. So they actually carried this out over 3 days. After Shana and Dominique were arrested, of course, they were evaluated by a court-appointed psychologist and psychiatrist, and these people concluded that both of them suffered from severe mental illness, including schizoid personality disorder, major depressive disorder, and PTSD. Both had sought mental health treatment throughout their lives, but it never was really successful. Dominique started as young as 5 years old getting help for mental health. Now, Shana's lawyer said that at the time of the killings, Shana had grown more isolated and was actually suffering from delusions. She believed that the world was coming to an end and that there were demons in her house and that she had to obey the demons. Now, since this incident, both of the women have continued to express remorse and they cannot believe what they have done. Now, of course, they cannot believe what they've done. I mean, if you killed your family members and, you know, if there was some type of force that had overcome and you actually succumbed to, you know, I mean, you would be remorseful as well. And as you saw with one of their relatives in that video, she said that it was some type of force. It was some type of, you know, spirit that had entered into that home and had entered into them. And I do believe that if you are partaking in things and partaking in spirits and different religions that you don't have no business dealing with, you can invite a certain type of energy into your home, into your body, into your, you know, to your being. You have to be careful with what you surround yourself by. What energies, what, you know, what are you listening to? What are you watching? What are you, you know, feeding your spirit with? Because that can definitely have an impact on how you see the world, on how you react to things. So this is a sad, this is sad. What are you guys saying in the comments? This is horrible. Keita says, it is horrible. Monica says, this is absolutely something that needs to be known. Keep your faith strong. And I'm assuming Monica was talking about when the girl was in the video speaking. Monica says she is speaking truth. Much respect. Yep. Hey, Trick Mama. Hey, you guys. Hey, Monica. Hey, Maya. Keita, Woo Chow. I see you guys in the building. Low Down One. I see you guys. Even with, Woo Chow says, even with that many people living in there like that, Monica says, oh, wow, that is so sad. I will never understand how someone can take another life. Well, what I need to know, why is it that when Child Protective Services, that they actually had visited this home, that police had visited this home, why did they think it was okay that 8 people were living in a 1-bedroom? I mean, I don't understand that. If CPS had been out there and visited that family, I don't care if there was food in the house. I don't care if there was adults in the house. It is apparent that something's not right if you got 8 people living in a 1-bedroom. There's no room for the 3, it was 4 children living there. 2 twins, the 9-year-olds, then it was a 13-year-old boy, then it was another boy. I think he was 16. I'm not sure how old he was, but I really want to say he was 16. So that's 4 children living in the home, and then you have adults. Okay? So, you know, that's overcrowded, you know? So I'm a little alarmed that they would allow them to still live in that type of condition and no one was removed. You know, there wasn't any other concerns. Like, that just would have been a concern for me. There's too many people living in that home. So neighbors were stunned. I looked at some interviews from people in the community that were being interviewed, when the news cameras were out there, and they were stunned because they said that it just happened so quickly. Like, these people went from nice everyday people having sense, being in the know, being aware, to just withdrawn, to just in a sunken place, thinking that demons, that world was coming to an end. I mean, Shana thought that there were demons in her home and she had to obey them, So this is sad all the way around. I mean, especially if these two were, they had a history of mental illness. I mean, really? There's a history of mental illness and no one thinks that it's strange for her to pull the son out of school all of a sudden, saying that you're going to homeschool him after he's been missing out of school for 10 days. No one's able to contact her. She's not answering the phone. She's got a history of mental illness. And then boom, she answers one day and says, oh, I'm going to withdraw him to homeschool him. First of all, where is the qualifications to homeschool? And I know in Pennsylvania, with homeschooling, you have to interact with the school. You have to have a curriculum. You have to show them that you're homeschooling. In New Jersey and some other states, you don't. But Pennsylvania, you do. You absolutely have to show that you are homeschooling your children when you take them out of the school. The school still has to be involved in the curriculum. So I need to understand this school system. How is it that, and he was in high school. High school is not easy to teach those subjects, okay? How is it that a mother that has a history of mental illness is able to teach a high school boy that's in high school? There's just a lot of red flags, that don't sit right with me, because how you homeschooling a high school student? No, ma'am. So these people are a different type of crazy. Exactly, it seems like CPS uses the basic guidelines so the job is done. Right. Wu Chow says, that's why my question was, with all them living there, CPS still approved of that. That's crazy and unsafe. Exactly. I just not understanding how them with a history of mental illness, people just came there, authorities came there, seen the living conditions, and left. The house was in disarray when they came there, when the crime scene, so I'm pretty sure the house was in disarray when they popped up and did the wellness check prior, And then when, the family was reporting that they went over to the home and they couldn't even get in, that they was peeping through the cracks in the door and only speaking, and being paranoid and thinking that there were demons outside. That's cause for concern. And the authorities, they had all this information. This was being reported to them, and still and yet they allowed the children to stay in this type of environment. They should have been removed from that home immediately, given those signs. Those are warning signs, so. Cookie says, I know people that call God Yahweh and they aren't schizophrenic. These people almost sound like they were into witchcraft or something far worse and dark. Well, she did say they were calling him Yah, and that it was similar to his Hebrew Israelite, but I don't think it was anything, it just, she might have thought that, how people think that religions that are, not the traditional and not the norm, they want to compare them to Hebrew Israelite or Nations of Gods and Earth, 5%, all that, when absolutely none of that is the case. It is some witchcraft, some dark mess. And like she said, the relatives said they were seeing that on YouTube. It was something on YouTube that they had got affiliated with, honey, and they was ingesting it into their spirit. And it absolutely was of a dark energy. It had nothing to do with the light. It was dark and sinister, because anything that is telling you that you need to commit harm to other individuals, and you're becoming increasingly paranoid and you think the world is coming to an end, that's dangerous. So I just think that the family, maybe, I'm a little concerned that they didn't do a little bit more. If I was the family, I would have went in the home and actually just removed the children. I would have went there with the police and I would not have left until I had the children. To keep going, I'm concerned that the one father went and checked on his daughter, seen her peeking through the crack of the door, left her there with the kids, and then the other father of Naira went there and left her there. And no one came back with police that same day. I would have came back with the police that same day and said, listen, open the door. I'm taking these children and you, let's go. I don't know what you got going on, but you need to get out of this home now because this is not you. I would have taken them away from there. I would not have just left them there knowing that something is not right. It's not right. And you still and yet you left them. Every time someone went to check on these people, they were left there. They were left to their own devices. They were left to just go on back to doing what it is that they were doing. So you could not have been that concerned because you left the people there. You left the babies there. It sounds QAnonish. Cookie says someone should have done something. Absolutely. Keita says they still have distance learning, but they still have to get on Zoom, everyone. But see, that's the thing. This was not distance learning. He was in school. She wanted to withdraw him to homeschool. That is different from the COVID distance learning and, with the COVID rules. This is actually homeschooling when you are withdrawing your child to homeschool. And this has nothing to do with COVID. And the reason I know that is because a couple of my children had been homeschooled at points in their lives. My youngest daughter had been homeschooled at a point in her life when she was asthmatic. And in New Jersey, I had to develop my own curriculum and use maybe a program on the internet or something to develop and keep her with the grade that she was in. And when she tested back into school in New Jersey, she tested back into her right grade. However, when you are in Pennsylvania, with us moving to Pennsylvania, the homeschool rules are different. When you're homeschooling your child, you have to keep in touch with the school that is in your district that your child would be going to if they were in school. Okay, so you got to turn in a curriculum. You have to show the school that you're actually homeschooling them. There are some states where it's just you. And that's how it was in New Jersey, where when I was doing the homeschool, it was all up to me. Whatever curriculum, whatever I was doing, I had to keep a record of it, but I didn't have to show anyone. It was just, if I wanted her to go back to regular school, public school system, she would have to be able to test back into her right grade. And that's how they would know that, okay, you were teaching her, you were keeping up with her studies. So I'm really surprised that Pennsylvania, just was so willing to allow him to withdraw. There are so many different type of paperwork and forms in Pennsylvania that you have to fill out. So it was really alarming when I heard, and researched the story that the school just let him go. A high school student. So it just seems like all around the board, and I know Bucks County. I know this county, Bucks County, is predominantly Caucasian. There are black families, but it is a suburban town. It's on the outskirts of Philadelphia, but some of the parts are affluent, and it gives very much doctors, lawyers, people with their own practices, lawyers, that type of thing. And it's really good school systems and stuff. But then you might have an area where it's apartment complexes and black people live, and so they really don't care. And if this was a white student or a white family, there would have been more resources. But because it's black, they just like, we don't want to get involved. We just let them do their thing. And it's like very much standoffish, okay, it's a black family, we don't want to get involved, which is terrible. Because had it been, I'm just saying what I know because of the experience that I've had living in Pennsylvania and living in Philadelphia. Had it been a white family, this would have been totally different. But because it was a black family, they felt like they wanted to stay completely out of the way. And, they did not want to get in the way of these people, So all the red flags were there. All the signs were there. Monica says CPS are allowing so much for whatever reason, money, higher positions, etc., because CPS doesn't care. More cases are showing up. Then they use the overwhelming reason to get away with it. True. Like they're overwhelmed or they don't have the funds. but that don't have anything to do with doing your job. There are rules and regulations in place. If you see certain warning signs, or if you go to a home and something just isn't right and it's just, you're supposed to remove those children. Now, you went from a family that was in the know, family that was described as sweet, that was interactive, to a family that's withdrawn, a family that thinks that there's demons outside, a family that went from a regular amount of people living in a home to all of a sudden 8. At the time, it was just Shana and Dominique living there and the brother. Then all of a sudden, here comes Naira with her children and Jamila with her son. How did that happen? So it's just sad all the way around. And the fact that no one did anything and allowed it to take place is even sadder. So drop in the comments and let me know what you think about this story if you catch the replay. But that's really all we have. This has been another true crime story. Child, we put all this stuff together. It takes so long to do all of this, all these clips, just for me to do a 30-40 minute video. I'm telling you, the stuff I go through to bring you guys content. But yes, we will be continuing to cover these cases. If you guys run across a story or a case that you want me to review on the channel, please email me at sweetpdiaries@outlook.com. You can email me there, or you can always drop it down in the comments and let me know of a story or a case that you want me to cover. We try to cover stories from our community, Black and Brown. It's not that I have anything against Caucasian or white people. I don't. But the stories that I would like to cover when we do these, this segment, we really just want to cover Black and Brown, because a lot of our stories do not get heard. And when I say Black and Brown, I am talking about Black people. I'm talking about Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, Mexicans, Black and Brown, because that's what it means. When they say Black and Brown, they mean us and, Hispanics and stuff, Indians. I want to cover people that are not getting coverage. Look at Gabby, what's her name, Petito, her story, white girl, all over the place. Something like this, people don't even know about it, So I really want to cover our people. So when you guys come across stories, drop them down in the comments or email me, and I will be happy to cover them, okay? Wu Chow says, I've been waiting on this one. Thank you. I mean, this was a mess. This is horrible. The system failed this family. They were failed. They were failed, okay? 2 women that have a history of mental illness. Okay, now once they've done all of this, it's giving, they're schizoid, they're schizophrenic, they're depressed majorly. They can get all of these diagnoses, but where was the help when they were in charge of all these lives? Okay, yeah, they were sweet people. Yes, they probably were interacting in their community, but they had a history of mental illness. They should not have been around all of these children unattended. There should have been social workers active in their lives. I mean, how is it that no one offered them any services? The apartment was clearly overcrowded and no services offered. So this is really brings awareness to the system, CPS. And, we got people on YouTube calling CPS on people because they don't like the videos that they're doing. And you got people that really need assistance, and CPS is failing them. So our system needs work. We need to report. When we know that people could be at risk, when we know that there could be some potential danger, report. Please, people, don't feel like, that's a lot of things. A lot of times Black people, we feel we need to mind our business, right? Let's stay out of people. That ain't got nothing to do with me. I ain't doing. No, if you see something that is suspicious, if you see something that looks like people could be in danger, report. We are all mandated reporters. When people say, well, I have a job as a nurse or a cop or whatever, and I'm a mandated reporter. No, we are all mandated reporters, because it is all of our duty, if we see something that looks like it's not right, red flags, bing, 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 going off everywhere, we are obligated to call it in. We are all mandated reporters, all adults, everyone. If you see something, call it in. All right. Don't feel like this is none of my business, because look at these victims. 5 victims, 3 of them children. 3 of them children. If someone had just spoke up, if someone had just been brave enough to go there with the authorities and not allow them to brush it off. Oh, they're fine. We're going to leave. We can't do anything. No, you're going to do something. These children are not safe. Keep your foot on their necks and make them do their job. Make them do their job, because these people are innocent. Look at this. They were innocent. These children had nothing to do with what the adults were taking part in. These adults wanted to, fill their spirit with whatever mess they were reading and watching on YouTube, whatever religion they felt, and they put these kids in this, innocent souls, young people, their lives just brought to a tragic end. They had so much life left to live. And unfortunately, they had to be victims of, the system failing them, basically. And, parents and adults that are partaking in things that they have no business taking part in. And before we go and I close this out, I really want to hone in on what that young lady was saying. Please be mindful of what you allow your children to watch on YouTube, what you allow them to watch on social media, on Instagram. When she said that she saw a video the other day with this video telling children how to turn on an oven while their parents are asleep. So you're trying to teach them how to burn the house down. These challenges that try to teach kids how to do things that are silly, that are going to harm them, but they're silly and they think, oh, this is fun. There are actually cartoons, the anime cartoons and different things that actually condone cutting and teach kids how to cut, and you have to just be really careful of what your children and what you are ingesting, because something can get into your spirit and something can just make you, uneasy and take you to a place where you don't even know how you got there. So it is very real. It's very real. Spirits, energies, very real. Whether you want to call them spirits or whether you want to call it energies. There is a dark energy. There is a light energy. Okay? And whatever you feed your spirit with, you can tell. You ever notice how you might be in a depressing mood and you listen to religious music, or you listen to something that's inspirational. Your spirit is instantly lifted. You might listen to something that you're in a good mood and you listen to something that's dark, or you watch a scary movie, or you watch something that's demonic in influence, and then your spirit's not feeling quite right. You might feel down, or you might feel nervous, or you might feel scared. That stuff is real, so you have to pay attention to that. Yes, definitely monitor their YouTube and TikToks. Monica says stay prayed up, y'all. Gotta guard your hearts, your minds, and your spirits. Spirits real out here, all right? So that's all we got, you guys. Be sure to click the link below and go on over there to AudiobooksNow and check out their catalog. They have a lot of true crime over there. And there are different links. We have different percentages off. I forget which ones they are, child. And 10% of the revenue collected is going to help with the Underground Railroad. Now, Operation Underground Railroad, what that is, if you click the link, I think I have their link in the description box. I think I might have to add it. I think I forgot to do that. But their link will be in the description box below. And what they do, they help in human trafficking and stopping human trafficking. They go out and do missions to brothels and different homes where people are being trafficked, men, women, and children, okay? So we want to help them, all right? We got our Ain't That Some Ish campaign running with them, and we have our true crime stories running with them, okay? We are a partner of the Underground Railroad. You guys, that started way back when we was doing the Costco Girl story. Y'all remember we came affiliated with the Underground Railroad. So we are now actually able to start working with them. And I'm so happy. I'm so thrilled. And I am honored to be able to work with that organization. So go on over there and click the link and look at their website and get acquainted with what it is that they do over there, all right? You will be greatly helping the Sweet Pea Diaries, and you will be helping the Underground Railroad. Now, you guys know my birthday. My birthday is Tuesday. My birthday is Tuesday. So make sure you come back on Tuesday at, I think it's 9 o'clock. Did I set it for 8 or 9 o'clock? And we're going to have a virtual party, okay? We're going to be drinking wine and things, probably do a little bit of celebrity gossip. I might have a little Q&A, give people a chance to get acquainted with Sweet Pea, ask me anything, ask me any questions. We probably talk about that little Carry On Franklin tea, honey, that's out there. And we probably talk about some other little tea. But it's really going to be a Q&A, a get to know me, celebrate our 1 million views. We trying to get next to 1 million subscribers. So it's going to be a ball. So come back on Tuesday night and celebrate my birthday. That is my actual birthday, the 12th. I will be 44 years young. And like I said in the community tab, if you guys want to give me a gift, please do not send a super chat because I'm not giving YouTube any of my birthday money. Okay, they already take 30% of my super chats on a regular basis. So if you guys want to donate to me for my birthday, please send me a PayPal or a Cash App. Do not send a super chat. Now, any other day, you can send a super chat. But my birthday, don't do me like that. Okay? Send it straight to me so I don't have to give YouTube any of my goddamn money. We're not doing that. And also, there have been people asking for the P.O. Box. It's coming, y'all, but a P.O. Box costs money, and I was not in the position to pay for a P.O. Box, okay? But now things are looking, we turning around. Things are turning around. So that is coming. People want to send me gifts. They want to send me cards. A couple people wanted to send me a money order. We take those things, all right? So I will be setting up a P.O. Box hopefully this week. I might try to do it tomorrow so people can send me gifts for my birthday because that was requested. So it was requested before my birthday, actually. But even now, so people are like, I want to send you a gift, Sweet Pea. And I can't give out my address. Child, even though y'all done doxed me, half of y'all think y'all know where I live at, so just send it. You think you got my address, go on and send it. But no, we're going to get a P.O. Box and for the Sweet Pea Diaries because we're growing. We're growing. We need a P.O. Box. We got merch on the way. You know I got the receipts. So we got that merch coming. So it's a lot in store for the Sweet Pea Diaries. Things are looking up. All right. So yeah, says I saw a documentary on YouTube about a little who died because CPS was not doing their job. They were indicted because of the circumstances. Oh, that's terrible. But yes, things are looking up, you guys. We're growing and we're getting better. And I'm just so happy with everything that we have in store for you. Okay, we're going to keep pushing out that content. So next we got coming up is Jada Pinkett Smith. I got some tea. Child, I found out so much about that girl. I done found stuff that you guys probably never even heard. I got pictures, photos of places y'all ain't never even posted. And honey, I'm like, I gotta be careful, mate. The Illuminati might come for me once I post this video. Because child, I got some tea. Okay, y'all know I'm the queen of receipts. So we coming with receipts in that video. That documentary, oh, it's gonna be plenty of receipts in there. All right. So this has been another edition of the Sweet Pea Diaries. You guys be sure to like this video, share this video, but most importantly, be sure to subscribe to my channel, and I will catch you on the next video. Good night, you guys. Bye.